All right. Great pleasure to welcome back General Jack Keane, Fox News senior strategic analyst. General Keane, sir, as always, thank you for coming on. Can I just begin with the Strait of Hormuz? How do you read that story? We are determined to prevent Iran from blockading it. It seems to me, again, Mr. Trump is signaling his intentions, and it's another war aim that can be met. How do you see it, General?
Well, first of all, I think the Strait of Hormuz problem gets resolved when we end this war, and we're 3 to 5 weeks from doing that. I think in the meantime, the fact that the media and the president's opposition party seems to be in a frenzy over the fact that oil prices are spiking. And it seems to me that oil prices spiking should not be the pacing item for this war. The reality is that we're going to end this war on our terms based on the conditions and the objectives to be achieved. And it seems to make some sense to me that if we have to put up with some oil prices spiking for a few weeks to end this tyrannical regime's diabolical influence and control regionally and writ large in the world, and imposing their will and determination and the hell that they've caused, you know, for almost 50 years, it's worth the cost of doing that. I mean, can't we bear this little sacrifice for a few weeks while we do this? I mean, that makes more sense. Let's finish this war on our terms and get it right, and those prices will come down. Now, with the Strait of Hormuz, there is a problem there. If we start to bring our warships through right now, the Iranians still have the capability, not just at the coastal area, which we can eliminate, but hundreds of miles back, to range those ships with precision weapons. And that makes no sense in terms of the risk when we're going to finish them off entirely in a few weeks. In the meantime, the commander of Central Command has it as a task, and he's deliberately working to eliminate the potential of those offensive weapons interfering with escort operations in the Straits of Hormuz. We're likely not going to begin that task of escorting tankers through until that threat is removed. But I think about the same time, the war will be ending in any event. We're on a pathway here. The president has talked about it. He has the patience to listen to his commanders and to listen to the IDF leaders and to Prime Minister Netanyahu. When those objectives have been achieved, then I think we'll see the termination of military operations. But until such time, we're going to continue to pursue those objectives.
Well, that's what the president has said. The president agrees. The president also said, as you just did, just, you know, a little bump up in gasoline prices, a very small price to pay to get rid of this awful terrorist regime that is a menace to all civilization, but fighting the U.S. for almost 50 years, as you put it. And I also was interested, 3 to 5 weeks. I mean, these are things that President Trump keeps saying. I mean, a lot of people choose not to believe him. My point in the riff is we should believe him. Things are on schedule. You yourself have said that to me on this show and on the radio. Things are on schedule. Now, you can't be certain about any of this. I understand the fog of war and the risk to it, but gosh, the president has been very level-headed, it seems to me, and has been a truth teller, General Keane.
Sure, absolutely. And where does he get all his information from? Well, he gets it, you know, from the Secretary of War, the Chairman of Joint Chiefs, principally from the Central Command commander, who has all of these facts. He is leading the war effort for us. And also, he gets the information from the IDF operations. We have a 3-star general and a complete staff embedded in the IDF. And they have a 1-star general and a complete staff embedded in Central Command's headquarters. The trust and exchange here is really something to see. And listen, Larry, for the military people out there who would appreciate this, who've gone through 20 years of 9/11 wars, we've never had a partner like this who brings together not only the shared values, which we've had in the past, certainly, and common objectives, which we've had in the past, but unbelievable capability and proven capability. These are the 2 most proven militaries in the world conducting, the first time ever, combined operations against a common objective and a common enemy. And we're going to get this job done together. Make no mistake about that.
Well, that was my other point on the rift. Said it a million times. I've heard you say it. We, the United States and Israel and our allies, are winning the war. We are winning the war, and it will be successfully won. Is there any doubt about that?
There's no doubt in my mind about it. And talking to the commanders, I'm kind of irrelevant compared to them. You know, they speak with total confidence. And when they began this operation, you know, our commander flat told the president, you know, I have total confidence that we will be able to accomplish successfully our military objectives, Mr. President. And I'm certain that that confident and that commander, Admiral Brad Cooper, who's truly exceptional officer, transferred that trust and confidence to the president himself. And that is where he is. He was then, and that's where he has been ever since on this operation. And he talks to Prime Minister Netanyahu. These are two wartime commanders now, talking to each other, much like Churchill and Roosevelt were continuing to talk to each other. Common objectives, shared values, working together as best as it can possibly be expected. I'm not Pollyannish. I'm not trying to, you know, provide flowery remarks here. I'm just trying to state the facts. This is really organizations coming together built on trust and confidence in each other. And it's something really to behold.
And they're changing history, General. And they're changing history for the better. You know what I mean? For the better.
You betcha. I mean, the opportunity here to take these guys off the board finally, maybe not immediately, but reduce their effectiveness so much that they're powerless, and eventually change will take place. And to accomplish something like that, you're right, it is historic, and we'll see close on, because we're talking to the Arabs. When this settles and this threat is removed in the region, we're going to see normalization among the Arab states and Israel exponentially greater than where we are now. And the Middle East will be changed for decades to come.
Yes,
Look at all the forces we've had in the Middle East throughout our lifetime here. Do we still have to keep the forces at this kind of scale going forward if we're able to historically achieve the political objectives we're trying to achieve here? I think not. It'll dramatically change.
Yes, sir. General Jack Keane, thank you. We always appreciate